Hey everyone, today I'll be covering Horizon Forbidden West. A little late, but who cares? I finally have the Platinum Trophy and I want to talk about it as my experience has changed a lot since I first started playing it. I'll also mention that this review will be filled with spoilers, so if you don't want to know any of those spoiler-like events, then definitely play the game first. So without further ado, let's begin. I think an important part to this review is if you get to know my taste in games. For example, I'm a big fan of a lot of the PlayStation exclusive games. A lot of games that end up being some of my favorite of all time or just of that year tend to be a first or second party PlayStation game. I thought for sure Horizon Zero Dawn would add to that long list of PlayStation exclusives that I hold in very high regard. However, that really wasn't the case. I started Horizon Zero Dawn and after about 20 hours, I could not help but feel very, very underwhelmed.
Boring.
The game didn't really do too much to grip me. I wasn't a fan of Aloy. I thought she was a bland character and the story was just very forgettable overall. After that initial 20 hours of gameplay, I just stopped playing it altogether. Now, after a very, very long time, I finally picked it up when I had nothing else to play. And I don't know what happened, but something finally clicked and I loved the game.
Finally.
The endgame content was awesome, and whilst I still had problems with the story and Aloy as a character, I ended up having a blast with it and it totally redeemed itself in my eyes. I'm not gonna lie, I started having some of those same feelings in the beginning of Horizon Forbidden West that I did when playing Zero Dawn. The story felt very low stakes and I was questioning the need of this game to be made, as sometimes it felt a little too similar to Zero Dawn. The opening area also isn't as vibrant as what the trailers had promised, and while I was having some fun with it because I had grown to love the gameplay loop of these games, I was feeling a little bit disappointed overall. I'm so glad to say though that after completing that opening area, the game just improved drastically and proves to be a large improvement over the last game. As soon as the world becomes free to explore, you can start engaging with the side content and the vastness of the world, which becomes more apparent when you move through it. More weapons and upgrades become accessible, and it shows that there is a lot in terms of variety that make this a better experience. The skill trees are also another improvement. While it is huge, it does an excellent job of giving you very useful abilities and passive upgrades that subtly make this game better and become useful in side quests and things like that. Now, another thing that Forbidden West does a solid job of is how they handle the new characters, the Zeniths. The game wasn't too interesting to me in the beginning because it spends a lot of time with the many tribes in the game, and this is something that never gripped me with either game. However, the more sci-fi elements and unraveling what happened in the world in the past is what Guerrilla Games have done an excellent job with, and they do that again here. The Zeniths enter the game about a quarter of the way through the main story, and you already have a lot of questions because they are much more advanced than Aloy and her companions. They get more involvement during the third act of the game's story, and they act as a nice setup for the final third game. The introduction of this Nemesis AI, which makes the very advanced Zeniths afraid, makes a nice big boss for the whole Horizon franchise. This section of the game is very satisfying as it feels like a nice payoff to what you have been building towards throughout this whole story. Now, what I think makes this game really, really excellent is the combination of side content and the open world itself. There is a lot of things to do in this game, and it has evolved a lot from Zero Dawn. Similar things like the tall necks, cauldrons, and hunting grounds are all there with slight differences. For example, in Zero Dawn, the tall necks operated as a moving tower to see the rest of the map, similar to something like Assassin's Creed. However, in this, there are tasks that require you to get a tall neck operating or combining a cauldron with a tall neck mission, which was really nice to see. These aren't the only extra tasks Guerrilla have added. The arena, which is an okay combat challenge if you're into that thing, is now there. I wasn't crazy about it, but it's still a nice addition. Same thing goes for the machine races and contracts. They are nice additions that pad things out a little more, but they weren't necessarily things I kept coming back to. In terms of actual side missions or quest lines, it is some of the best I've played for at least 2 to 3 years. Guerrilla Games have done an excellent job in making a lot of these side quests feel compelling. Most games, including Zero Dawn, these missions felt like filler to just make you level up. However, in Forbidden West, they are a tool where you meet the different factions and get acquainted with them. This made the tribes feel a little more interesting to me, and I loved how they handled it. These quests also have subtle effects on the open world. Certain areas are dying, and there is this red poison called the Blight surrounding some of these areas. I completed a quest line in 2 of these areas, and after returning to the area once these quests were completed, the Blight disappeared and is now surrounded by water or greenery, making the place feel vibrant and alive again. I thought these subtle changes in the open world is excellent and made me feel these quests mattered a little more. There are also companion missions that make you feel a little more invested in the supporting cast. I think some of them could have been a little more compelling, but they mostly do a good job of giving you some extra story and context for the characters and the area they come from. On a technical note, the game is pretty great with a couple of things here and there that stop this element from being perfect. The graphics are really great, and it is one of the best looking games on the PS5. I mostly played on the resolution mode, which is at 4K 30 FPS, and it looked phenomenal. I also tried the frame rate mode, which runs at 1800p at 60 FPS, and that looked great too. Now, even after a few patches, I'm still encountering a few bugs that range from some goofy ones that don't hurt the game too much, all the way up to some missions being bugged and having to start it again.
Oh no.
Now, this only happened once during an arena mission, but it was still there, so I think it is worthy of criticism. The bugs aren't extremely frequent, but you will encounter them from time to time, and if you don't have any tolerance to that kind of thing, it may be bothersome. Overall, Horizon Forbidden West is an excellent game and is a nice improvement over its predecessor. Sure, this still has some problems, but Guerrilla have done a fantastic job of setting up another game that could once again improve and be truly masterful. The open world is one of the best I have played in for a while, and it is truly one of the most beautiful games on the PS5. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.